Good evening. To the Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad, it must feel like Damascus is shrinking. Today, 3 massive bombs tore through the heart of the city near the soul of his reign. The largest detonated outside the headquarters of Assad's ruling political party. At least 53 were found dead, mangled bodies amid blazing wreckage. The other 2 bombs exploded outside offices of Assad's feared intelligence agency, killing another 22. Rebels also claimed today that their mortar rounds hit the army's Central Command building. Damascus, the capital, was the last city to mostly hold the vicious war at bay. The rebellion began nearly 2 years ago, a popular uprising against the 42-year dictatorship of the Assad family. Neighborhoods have turned to rubble. 70,000 people are dead, and refugees are pouring over the borders. Some of the leaders of the opposition groups fighting in Syria are not in Syria tonight. They're in Cairo for talks, and that's where we find our correspondent Clarissa Ward tonight. Clarissa, what are they saying about the bombing, and what is the point of the talks there?
Well, Scott, unsurprisingly, the opposition has released a statement condemning today's bombing and saying that the Assad regime was to blame for this attack. Of course, the Assad government saying that it was, in fact, extremist elements within the opposition who were responsible. But the meetings that are going on here in Cairo among the Syrian opposition are essentially to determine the conditions for possible talks between the Syrian opposition and the Assad regime. Those talks would likely be brokered by the U.S. and also by Russia.
Emphasis on possible talks. Clarissa, thank you very much. Clarissa has another story for us tonight about some of the people who are suffering the most. A few of the many rebel groups are connected to Islamic radicals, and Christians who have lived in Syria for more than 2,000 years are now fleeing right next door.
This convent in the mountains of Lebanon is a refuge for Syrian Christians who have been forced from their homes and their country. There have been Christians in Syria as long as there have been Christians. Now they are caught up in a civil war increasingly dominated by Islamic militants. We came to Lebanon because there is no more living in Syria, Sanharib Afram told us. It's dead there. He made the dangerous journey out of Syria with his wife and 3 children 2 months ago. Already, churches have been burned, homes destroyed, and Christians kidnapped. Who are you most afraid of? We are afraid of both sides, the armed militias and the government, he told us. One side is shelling us and the other side is shooting at us. We have no guns, we have nothing. Christians make up roughly 10% of Syria's population. Traditionally, they have supported the Assad regime, which has always protected minorities. Father Simon Fadul is the president of the Catholic Caritas charity.
Many of them are loyal to the government, yes. Or maybe they'd say, you know, an evil I know is better than an angel I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like I know the regime at least. I don't know what's going to come next.
Many Christians are fearful of what might happen if the rebels win. They worry they could face the same kind of religious persecution they've seen in Iraq and elsewhere in the Middle East.
You'd see militiamen coming in front of churches and making screams and, you know, shooting in the air and stuff like this to scare people off.
There are no official statistics on how many Christians have left Syria since the civil war began. Afram says he hopes to start a new life in the West. If things keep going the way they are in Syria, there will be no Christians left there, he said. This ancient community may be the next casualty of the civil war.